What's happening? It's Ryan McCaffrey. My name is Podcast Unlocked. Wait, that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes.
Pull an old switcheroo.
Yeah. This is Podcast Unlocked, episode 220, the world's #1 Xbox podcast. It's November 11th, 2015. I think I'm Ryan McCaffrey. That's not Mitch Dyer, but occupying where his physical corporeal form often is. It's Marty Sleva.
Someone took offense to the fact that I made fun of Mitch for being Canadian last week.
Well,
and I want everyone to know.
Someone got offended in this world?
I actually like Canada, and I like Mitch.
Sure you do.
That was just an old joke and a jape.
Sure you do.
Actual Canadian Destin Legary.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. And the shark himself, Sean Finnegan.
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, it's November 11th. This is, heart of the storm right here, eye of the hurricane. We've got Fallout 4 and Tomb Raider this week.
Why did that happen? Why did they want to
I don't know. Well, I have a theory about that. Not a theory, but I have thoughts about that for later.
I'm excited to play Tomb Raider after 300 hours of Fallout.
I want to note that today is not only a palindrome episode.
Ooh. Marty likes those.
Wait, what?
No, it's not.
What part of it's a palindrome?
The date is.
That's true.
Yeah, the date's palindrome date.
Wait.
As long as you just
it's just the day in the month. Oh. Just go with me on this. I try to find these wherever I can in life. But today is, for real, the 4th anniversary of the release of Skyrim.
Wow.
4 years already.
Old enough to rent a car.
Not quite.
Certain states.
Maybe it was
4 years old? I don't know.
In Missouri? You can rent a car in Missouri at 4. Jesus Christ!
I can't believe it's been that long.
No, I'm letting you sink on that one, buddy.
Let's just watch him go down. Well, should we throw him a life preserver? Nah, he'll figure it out. It's Darwinism out there, man. Survival of the fittest.
I can't believe it's been that long since Skyrim. It didn't feel like that long ago, right? At least to me, it didn't. It felt like we were playing that like 2 years ago.
11/11/11
4?
that game came out.
The truest palindrome there ever was.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Truth fact.
That means I was doing Skyrim right when I started.
Probably.
Well, because
3 months after I started.
Skyrim and Dark Souls came out right around.
So that means I somehow did 6 games from August to November.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You're a
You
pro.
worked hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah, I had a fun week this week. I barely escaped jury duty. I was on the hook for a potential 2.5-month-long murder trial.
Wow.
Oh,
Thank
my goodness.
God, the judge let me out of it.
What'd you say? I have a wife?
That was
a
part of it.
family,
A 4-year-old was part of it. And no, I actually
Rock band?
Well, so our company, we get 10. Sorry, people are writing in saying we are slamming on accidentally banging the desk all the time. I'm trying not to do that. My dumb ring is, I'm getting a divorce. Forget this right now. The show's more important.
Just for the audio quality.
But they extended it, showed up for jury selection, and they were like, oh, actually, this is going to take, we told you it was going to be mid-December, so already a long, stretch.
Yeah.
Turns out it's going to be mid-January. And I was like, I only have, our company gives us 10 jury duty days, and then they won't pay me anymore. Yeah. So thankfully, the judge took pity on me.
That's all you had to say?
I did my best on the form to make it as convincing as possible, but I don't want to reveal all my tricks.
Racist on there.
Whoa!
Get me out of this.
I'm actually pro-murder.
Yeah.
You mean this isn't a death penalty case? How come?
I believe in anarchy, survival of the fittest. Darwinism.
Right, circling it back, Dustin. I like it.
That's all that you wrote on there?
Oh, man. So lots been going on. We'll get to the sort of core news in a bit, but I want to start with the Mass Effect Andromeda.
You didn't ask the question from the last. I really wanted to answer that one.
What question?
He wants to say that he's a
Fallout guy.
Okay, yeah, we'll back up to
Skyrim
that.
guy.
Yeah, since we were talking about Skyrim.
I was really excited.
Good. I appreciate you bringing me back to it. Yeah, it's funny. In my time over the years, OXM and IGN, I've found, even though they're both fundamentally similar games made by the same developer, people tend to really favor either the Elder Scrolls series or the Fallout series. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious around the room. Do you guys fall on one side or the other? Marty, I know you don't. You haven't played any of them, so
I'm neutral.
Marty likes Dark Souls.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about I think it just falls to. I know a lot of people don't like post-apocalyptic things just because it's a little you go outside, especially in a city like San Francisco, and you already see it feels post-apocalyptic a lot of times.
It's not depressing at all. You bring light.
It feels like it's filled with like robots and marauding ghouls if you go downtown San Francisco already. And so I think that's why a lot of people prefer Skyrim. But I think Destin's a little bit different.
Very different, very different. So just in general, I don't really enjoy the fantasy dragon thing. So like Dragon Age, I don't know.
Whatever, you're dragonist.
Yeah, I guess so. I like Game of Thrones, but I really love the Fallout setting, the post-apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
Like it's about you're in this totally destroyed world. Everything's like screwed up, basically, you know. And you get to bring hope back into the world and like help people out if you want to. I mean, you can play evil too.
Yeah,
and
you
just
can be a total tool.
You can make it even worse, but I prefer to like do the positive thing.
Yeah.
Like last night I ran around pretending to be a superhero in Fallout 4, which was phenomenal and funny.
You're such a paragon in life.
It was phenomenal
Be a little more
and
renegade.
funny. It was a mission, but then at the end there was actually impacts on one of the characters' lives where like he's like, this isn't a game, like, you know, and it was really interesting that they kind of hit all these different tones just with one mission in the game. And there's tons more where that came from in Fallout 4.
Yeah, how far in are you at this point? How many hours?
So I think I'm at 1 day and something on my on my hour count. And somebody said I had 96 hours on the leaderboard. That's wrong. I think I have like 35 hours.
It's still a good chunk. Yeah. I'm at about 14. Just sort of. I've been trying to balance Tomb Raider and Fallout, which is really difficult, and Halo has suffered. I haven't played any Halo multiplayer, which is crushing me.
Yeah, there's
it's
so many good games right now.
How about you, Sean? Do you have a preference?
I do. I've always been more of a Fallout guy, just because, again, like Destin, I never really kind of grew up with the whole fantasy thing. Like, I read Lord of the Rings when I was a kid, but I found it long and very exposition heavy, such that I was just like, even when I was a kid, I was like, man, we've been talking about what these trees look like for a long time in this chapter, you know?
Yeah. They're called Ents. They have personalities. Why don't you
be
a little nicer to them?
There's a lot of singing going on in Lord of the Rings, and I'm just like, even when I was a kid, I was like, this is a little weird. Never read Harry Potter. I loved Morrowind. Like, I played so much Morrowind. That's the only game, I think, outside of the Halo series that I've 100%ed. Like, I did everything that you could do in Morrowind.
You play on PC or OG Xbox?
OG Xbox, yeah.
It's a pretty good version of the game, actually.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I loved it. And it was the quality of the games aside, like, fantasy just doesn't really do it for me. I've always been more of a sci-fi guy, so for me, Fallout is the thing. Like, I love how sci-fi as a genre can kind of really be kind of like a metaphor and a critique for the way humanity is now. Like, it can be a good sort of reflection genre as for what we perceive our problems to be now. And I don't know quite that fantasy has that same capability, because it's kind of difficult, at least for me, to understand like the complexities of human nature when you're dealing with dwarves and elves and dragons and orcs and all these other people who have their own different problems, which is interesting in of itself, but it just doesn't quite do it for me. So yeah, I've been more of a Fallout guy ever since, but I liked Skyrim a lot. I played Morrowind a lot.
Yeah,
they're great, but
I'm on the other side. I love Fallout, and I'm having a great time with Fallout 4, but I have always preferred the Elder Scrolls series, and I think it's for just very different reasons. I love the escapism of it, where I love
this would never happen.
Right, the forests and the like. It's transporting me to this almost medieval European type, fantastical land.
Yeah, like medieval setting.
Yeah, with like awesome. Because I love Gothic architecture and that sort of like what was the main city in Oblivion? Oh, jeez.
Oblivion, God, now that was a...
Somebody's going to correct me instantaneously, but the huge capital city was just this like awesome stone, gorgeous place, and I've always preferred it, but yeah, Fallout's been great, and it's been I can't pull myself away from it.
Yeah, I also just think like particularly with Fallout 3 and now Fallout 4, and in comparison to what I remember from Oblivion and Skyrim, like I think tonally it's also just a lot more unique. Like Fallout doesn't feel like other sci-fi post-apocalyptic games the way that Skyrim does feel like other fantasy games, like in terms of its tone, right? Like one of the things I love about Fallout is this kind of like the music and the setting goes so far in establishing like this is something that existed as part of Americana before everything went to shit.
Yeah.
And that doesn't exactly have that. It doesn't Skyrim, at least to my best recollection, doesn't have that same sort of contextualizing it in the world that I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's familiarity in a thing like Fallout because you are like, oh, I know Boston. I know what a car is. I know this. Whereas you don't get familiarity in fantasy because you don't know what a dragon is.
Yeah,
like,
which is kind of the point. I get that. It's hard to compare them in that way, but
I feel like fantasy games, fantasy in general, you feel like you're the first one experiencing something. Like if you're walking through a forest in a game, you're like, I am the first person to ever walk down this path. Right. These are the first set of footprints here. Whereas something like Fallout or anything post-apocalyptic, it is obviously very much like people have been here before. I am the 100th person to do this, and I don't know. That gives a weird kind of feeling.
Well, you want to talk about fantasy or like footsteps, never being somewhere before. That's probably a good transition into the Mass Effect thing, and we could talk about why I love.
Now
Mass
that's
Effect.
the destined segue I know and love. That was like
That
highbrow.
that was an adult segue.
That was a grown-up segue, son. Yeah, this N7 day is a fun little Mass Effect observational day that we observe on November 7th for N7, and this year. Everybody, nobody I think really expected a ton. I wonder if they'll try to release the game on that day next year.
No way.
Let me see what. Well, they did say it's holiday 2016. Let me check the date. But anyway, we didn't get. There wasn't any gameplay or anything new like that. But Destin, we got a very really I thought almost beautiful trailer.
It was basically a female shepherd doing some narration with some imagery about going into outer space and exploring the galaxy. And basically it was a femme shep passing the torch to the new explorers of the world. Now, this was just for N7 Day. I don't believe this is like canon, like what's going to happen in Mass Effect Andromeda. But it was really a nice way to remind you about like what Mass Effect is all about exploring, about building relationships and,
Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that when they heard Jennifer Hale's VO that it was like, oh, this is confirming that Shepard's going to be in the game. I'm like, no, I think this is very much
a one-off tone piece kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just like the marketing for Halo was exactly what happened in the game.
Yeah.
N7 Day 2016 is a Monday, so it's not like the Monday. It comes out at like 9 p.m. usually with the digital preload.
It
so
could be Nate Day.
They could do it. I would not. I would not be surprised if that day is currently circled in pencil. Over at BioWare, because obviously it's a little early to put anything in ink, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, Andromeda is. If that trailer like that. In-engine trailer is anything to go by, that game's going to be phenomenal.
What, the one from E3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
stunning. We
know it's Frostbite. It's not Unreal. The game, the original trilogy was built on the Unreal Engine. This is Frostbite now, which EA uses for, that's the DICE technology that EA is leveraging across most of their games.
When do you think we'll see sort of our first big actual what this game is?
God, I hope it's on this website. Hopefully, but
IGN first.
What do you guys
that
think?
would
Do you
be
think
nice.
PSX?
Or possibly VGAs.
I don't. I mean, it's still if it's still a
Those
year
two
away.
events.
Yeah, VGA
PSX?
is a time
Like
that's.
this year's PSX?
Yeah, I mean, if the game's a year away, like I don't think
like
it's out of the
2
question to
weeks.
see anything.
I mean, we had the gameplay trailer at E3. It's tough to say. I mean, will they piggyback on an event or will they just try to do their own? Event,
They've done the award show before the VGAs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the next.
Keeley knows them very well.
It's the next possible opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Probably would be the Game Awards. But who's playing? Or we're on the subject of things that are out that aren't news. Have you guys played Tomb Raider yet?
Yes.
I played a little bit of the intro, but that's basically what we played at PAX, or what I played at PAX.
Yeah. I would suggest. I know you're knee deep in Fallout, but I would suggest carving out like a weekend and burning through Tomb Raider.
I want to. Like, I'm definitely going to play it before the end of the year. But I love Fallout, the Fallout franchise, so much that I'm just totally immersed in that world.
Talk to me about Tomb Raider, Marty. What do you think of it?
I think so far from what I've played, which is only probably 5-6 hours, I think it's right up there with Sunset Overdrive as the best exclusive on Xbox One, or I guess. It's currently an exclusive for a little while.
High praise.
Yeah, I think I was talking
Call
about
it
this.
Best first party game.
Yeah,
How
totally.
about that?
What did we give it?
9.3.
Lucy O'Brien in
9.3,
Australia. Yeah,
Right.
Great score.
It does this really interesting thing that Altano and I were talking about, where it has these really amazing sort of small contained open world segments that are really crammed with interesting things to do and little side quests and really fun tombs to for lack of a better term, raid with these really smart puzzles that give you great rewards. The hunting and crafting is really good. And then whenever you want to leave those open worlds, you get this really amazing sort of Uncharted cinematic, great, roller coaster ride before you get into the next little hub. And I really love that sort of that you're in charge of when you want to cleanse your palate,
right?
Which I think is something that's super important in a game that is straddling the line between open world and sort of controlled corridor cinematic stuff. Yeah, I'm really
Our friend Jim Sterling had a great tweet about this. He said, "I'm fearful of progressing in Tomb Raider because he's so hooked on the finding all the cool stuff that he's terrified of missing something."
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you played yet, Sean?
Only what I've played with you guys at preview events.
Okay.
Which, was a significant chunk.
It's the first few hours of the game.
Yeah, first few hours, exactly. It's not really my thing, is the thing. Like, I find it a little too gamey in that, like, a lot of what I'm doing in the game, and this is, again, not exactly a valid critique having not played the first one and not really played a significant chunk of the second one. I feel like I'm just doing things just to do things because I have to and not because I want to. Like, I've never been one of these guys who likes to go out and collect every little thing or upgrade every little weapon or max out my trees. Like, I just want to do what I have to do to get through the story, and I want that story to engage me. So...
How are you playing Fallout?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've said it before, Fallout is the one, like, open world RPG where, like, I'm totally immersed in just what's happening in that game such that whatever I'm doing, I'm, like... 100% committed to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's very, very rarely in an open world RPG or open world anything.
So you're like, I'm going to get junk because I want to build this thing. You have a goal.
Yeah, like Oblivion didn't really catch me. Skyrim didn't really catch me. I never played Red Dead. I don't really play GTA because you put me in a world where you're like, do anything. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
And you're paralyzed. You do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, Marty. I also had played the beginning chunk of the game at a preview event, and I really enjoyed the reboot from a couple of years ago. But as the more I get into Rise of the Tomb Raider, I'm finding I'm now completely in love with it. I went from liking it to I completely love it, and there's just a ton of layers to it. It's you're like, okay, you've got you're saying the sort of cinematic. I hate
cool
to call them
pieces.
Uncharted type things because Tomb Raider did it first.
Yeah.
But you've got those kind of action set piece moments. But then when you get into these open world hub areas, I love the challenge tombs. I want to find every single one of those. I've spent so much time in the first big open world area, the
base,
the Soviet base, that I've only just now finally started to move out of that because I was like, all right, I did all the tombs here, and I still didn't do everything there. But I love so far the story is engaging me. I didn't like the sort of supernatural angle that the first game ended up going down towards the latter part of it, and I'm hoping this one won't either. But it's really. There's just a lot going on, and it kind of all comes together in a way. Like, no individual part of that game, I feel like, is knock your socks off. Like, not the platforming, not even the tombs, certainly not the shooting.
But together.
But it really is that. I hate to use the cliche, but that game is really a sum of all its parts for me, and I'm completely riveted by it, and I just want to play. I want to get through it.
And I've really, like, more so than the first game, because the first game I thought the story was effective, if only because you empathized with Lara because
she's been through the ringer.
Yeah. She's been through the ringer, and I'm like, it's sort of a cheap. It's a cheap way to earn empathy because you don't want to see someone continually just like eaten by wolves and almost killed by marauders. But I think this game does, and Camilla Luddington's performance is really great. And from what Mitch says about the later part of the game, it only gets better.
Yes.
And it only gets more
like
personal. And he said it's one of those rare games where like his favorite part is the last couple hours, which I think a lot of games peak in about the second act.
Well, if not earlier, because I mean, and it's almost by design because statistically, game developers know, the highest percent, the 100% of your players are going to experience the first part of the game, and a very, very, very small percentage are going to experience the end.
Yeah,
and not only that, it seems to be extremely difficult to make a good end to a game because we've seen so many bad ones this year. Halo.
Anyway,
we've moved past that.
One thing
we did a whole show on that.
One thing I'm really excited about is watching Lucy's review, she talks about how it explores Lara's psyche.
Yeah.
And just in the first hour of the game, you were talking about like everything she went through. In the first game, you don't really want to see that. You can clearly tell that she's still dealing with what happened to her. You know, like there's still lingering effects there, and she's latching onto this thing. And even is there a sister at the beginning? She's like, hey, Dad wasn't well.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe this isn't a good idea.
And it does something that, I mean, obviously there's going to be comparisons back and forth between this and Uncharted, but that's something Uncharted doesn't really do.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, it feels more like popcorny summer blockbuster.
Exactly.
Or Indiana Jones, where like
By design,
you can kill
by
a
the
bunch
way.
of people and be fine with it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like that's not like that's good or bad, but that's just, I mean, yes, it's bad in real life if you kill a bunch of people and are fine.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't murder.
But in storytelling,
But in
it's not
storytelling,
bad.
yeah, it's interesting. I think this is a really strong statement of like, all right, your move, Uncharted now. So I'm really
I completely
intrigued to
agree,
see.
and I, you know, even though I'm not through with the game either, I would actually concur with your statement of it being right there with Sunset Overdrive as the best first party game. I mean, Halo 5 is great. I mean, the multiplayer is so sublime, but given the issues that I have with the campaign, I mean, it's Sunset, Tomb Raider, Halo 5 in there. Even I would actually put Master Chief Collection there too now that it works.
Yeah.
But man, it is really good. And the point I sort of hinted at earlier is I know real life is very different and there are production schedules and all sorts of moving parts, but to me it seems like a shame that I mean, Microsoft knowingly, willingly put this game out on the same day as Fallout 4. And they even have a kind of half marketing-y partnership with Fallout. So
I don't get it.
But my point is, like, it's a shame to me that I think in an ideal world, and I'm sure this was explored or at least looked into, I would have liked to have seen Tomb Raider and Forza flipped and have Tomb Raider have come out in late September at a time when it could have been like sort of the first mover, like the first big holiday game, gotten that before everybody's spent any money or gotten wrapped up with a game like a Fallout, and have Tomb Raider really come out and set the tone and come storming out of the holiday gate in September. And then, because I feel like Forza is so totally different than Fallout that it's not even competitive. Like if you're interested in Forza, you're not gonna buy Fallout instead of Forza. You might buy them both. But they're so apple and orangey, and not that Tomb Raider and Fallout are the same game, but it is a shame to me that I feel like, and I mean sales numbers, who knows, but I do feel like nobody's talking about Tomb Raider the way that game deserves to be talked about
and especially,
right now.
I mean, it's even tough. Like aside from Fallout, there was that 10-day span where right beforehand we had Black Ops, and right afterwards we're going to have Battlefront,
Star Wars Battlefront.
I feel like maybe mid-October would have been better because in September you had to avoid Metal Gear. You know.
Well, that was September 1st. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I guess.
So I think like somewhere in October would have been the good window. But
so you would have rather flipped, Halo and
I don't know if there is a good window because Metal Gear was October, wasn't also Halo was October as well.
Yeah,
like,
maybe late September. But then what are you running into there?
All fall and up to winter is just crazy.
I guess the point is I would have loved that snack, like a week of Tomb Raider, nothing else there, because there are weeks in those time periods.
There have definitely been weeks
when they could have launched, and it would have been great.
Well, in any case, hope it does well. The game's great. Don't sleep on it. Give it a try. It's really super good from what we've played so far, and from what our friends Mitch and Lucy have played all of. They back it up. So we'll come right back to some news, and I want to thank Will Mitchell for, as I said, I think on last week or the week before show, like an idiot, I had to free up hard drive space on our on our creaky podcast laptop. I accidentally deleted too many old things.
Oh no!
Lost the most recent bumpers we had.
Yeah.
I was able to. I've got. So the ones I found were the old Xbox 360 bumpers.
Oh boy!
So Will Mitchell, super nice guy. He made us a couple new bumpers. The first of which, well, I'm keeping the unlock block one that Rory made because it's just so good. But the news unlocked bumper is now fresh and modern. And it's even got kind of a newsy feel to it. So thanks, Will Mitchell, for that. And we'll come right back and do the news for you right after this. All right, let's do a little news for you. Let's kick it off with the new Xbox One experience dashboard. Hits tomorrow as we record. It's Wednesday. It starts to roll out tomorrow, Thursday, the 12th.
Or your Xbox randomly did it itself when you didn't want it to.
Yeah, it's been getting pushed out to some people early, and it is scheduled to go out in waves, but you should be able to manually do it tomorrow by going into your system settings and doing, system update, choosing that. So it's a great dashboard. What are you thinking of it? I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, Destin, but what are your impressions of it so far?
I'm liking it so far. Pins are at the very bottom, but you hit left and you kind of have access to all your tools there, like right when you boot it up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Just stuff's move around. So I'm kind of getting used to the new flow.
Well, the pro tip that there's a little, I definitely recommend watching. There's on the right rail, there is a box for a tips video that Microsoft made that gives you some sort of shortcuts and hotkeys and things.
That's cool.
The triggers, if you hit the left trigger, it'll pull you down to your pins on any of the tabs. So that's like the number one thing to remember is just like trigger and then boom, straight to the bottom.
Weird little thing, but I miss being able to hit start and go to my settings. Like I've got that like ingrained into like how I get to my settings.
Over. It's on the
now
it's on
you
the
hit
guide
left
stuff.
and you got to kind of navigate to it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's
left, smoother.
It's so quick too.
Yeah.
It's left on when you're on the dash. And what's great is one of the things we've talked about over and over on this show, and as they've slowly fixed our issues with the dashboard over the last 2 years, now we got the guide button back from the 360. From in the game, double tap the jewel button on the top of the controller. It'll swipe in from the left, and you've got friends, messaging, party stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff's right there again. Thank goodness. I'm so happy.
Like I came into work, so my work console has old dashboard, my home console has new dashboard, and I come in and I'm just trying to navigate, and like it takes a second, then like it catches up and it moves all over the place, and I'm like, all right, so you're working now, great, I can actually do some stuff.
Yeah, I'm in the same way. I got in the beta for the dashboard on a work box because I didn't want it to break anything at home, like because that was a real possibility in the early days of the public beta. And now, like the last week or two, I go home to the old dash and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a telling enough endorsement right there when I get home and I just get upset that it's the old dashboard.
I have high hopes based on what you guys are saying. I haven't tested it out yet, but I don't like change. And I had kind of gotten used to the way things were working.
Right.
Like,
You'd rather go the Stockholm syndrome
it's totally
route?
Stockholm syndrome.
Well, just like, I don't know, it worked fine for me. It wasn't maybe the best interface I've ever used in my whole life. This wasn't the Blade system. But,
Blade system was great. Yeah.
I mean,
for the time.
For the time, yeah. Like, Ryan's right. It would not work now with just how much content there is out there. But the way I use the dash, the current dash, the one that is not the new one.
1.0.
Yeah, 1.0 dash was perfectly fine. I had no trouble getting to where I needed to go most of the time, and I made use of the voice commands kind of a lot when it came to watching things.
I finally got used to the new dash, and now we're being given a new one, so I'm starting to get used to the new one, but it's happening faster.
Yeah, have you played around with it yet, Marty?
No, actually.
Not yet, so you'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Connect gestures are completely gone out of the new.
Good.
I love that when I'm eating popcorn or something, watching a movie,
And then the
and
hand
it pops
comes
up.
up.
Like, get out of here.
No, will be exactly. That's the only like real frustration that I had with that is like sometimes I'd get really frustrated in Halo. I'd throw my hands up in the air and it'd be like, "What are you signaling?" And I'm like, "I'm not signaling.
I'm mad."
When I first read this, I freaked out because my brain read it as Connect functionality.
Voice
so I was
commands,
like, the voice commands, I use those all the time. Oh, they're just talking about the physical hand gestures. Okay. The voice stuff's great. It's still there.
I use
so that's good.
I use record that and take a screenshot regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when I have played Halo, I had to go back like, I can record all the cool things I do.
Right.
And I started tweeting some of them out. And I need to get back in the habit of that.
I have a bunch of PC friends who just like, every day, at least once a day, they're like, "Why do you play console games?" It's like when I'm playing Counter-Strike and I pull a really cool like triple kill or something, I'm like, Xbox, record that. That's one thing you can't do on PC.
Yeah.
Way to go,
You
by the way.
kind of can with NVIDIA.
You just screwed over a bunch of our listeners.
To be fair, you kind of, for the PC people, you kind of can with NVIDIA. You can do a hotkey where you just like, you hit record, and I think it records the last 30 seconds.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
If I had a PC.
Another. So here's a new feature that I thought I was gonna love, but then when I actually played with it more, it turns out I unfortunately don't like it. So we've also complained that, remember, from day one of the Xbox 360, it had the shooter and racing profile preferences where you could just set in the system, in the OS, you'd set I want inverted for all shooters, and you could set your default view for racing games, whether it was like bumper cam or cockpit view or whatever. And that was a November 22nd, 2005 feature on the 360.
Yeah.
It has not happened on Xbox One.
I thought I saw you tweet out a photo of you doing it.
So that's true.
Yeah.
And I was stoked because I had gone right in. I hit it. So it's in the new dash. You can go in to the devices and set on your controller to invert the Y-axis. So the good news is that totally works with games. But what it does, it's actually a forced. It's like a binary switch and not actually a smooth preference thing. So if you go into your game and you go into the settings menu, it'll show normal, even though the system is overridden it. Like the game doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's like it's at the deep root.
It's on the system side, not on the game software
But the
side.
problem is, like in Fallout, I zoom in and out on my map. You go up, stick up, stick.
Yeah.
Which is just a normal, up to zoom
That's
in,
still inverted.
back to zoom out. But it inverts everything. Everything all the time. Like, no, that's actually more frustrating for non-game things.
Yeah.
So
You'll just have to do the old settings thing in every game.
Or play like a normal person and don't use inverted.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me. So if Mike Ibarra or any of the Xbox team members are listening, we know Phil still listens, but at least he checked in with us semi-recently.
Yeah.
But if we could just tweak that somehow, if they could maybe put that on the to-do list to
give a little bit of logic to it.
Yeah, massage that a little bit. That would be super helpful.
Does it add anything else? Backwards compatibility?
Oh, right, that.
Yeah.
You're giving me the I'm segueing you look.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm like, what are we talking about again? It's all written down in front of me. 104 starting tomorrow or possibly today or now as you listen to the show. 104 games that's the first batch of out of the gate backwards compatible games.
Yep.
360 games that you can play on your Xbox One.
So it's crazy how much people care about this. Like not in a pejorative way, but just like the news stories and our wiki on this. Like,
it was one of our
crazy
biggest
numbers.
Stories period out of E3 was when they announced the backwards compatibility.
I redeemed my Fallout 3 code, and I'm like, I can play Fallout 3.
Dude, play Tomb Raider. Don't play Fallout 3.
No, not now. But like, it's nice to know that I have that. I wish my saves came over, but
it helps you if they can get enough of the catalog built up, you might be able to put your 360 away forever. Is kind of the idea, right? Or trade it in or sell it or what have you. 104 games out of the gate. The gem. So Brian Albert and I made a video about this, but I just want to go over real quick. I think there are a bunch of games that you probably won't care about, like Sega Classic Collection, Alex Kidd, like, okay, whatever. But the 5 gems that either play them again or you may not have played them the first time if you're a relatively new person to the Xbox world. Shadow Complex, Marty.
Yeah.
How good was that game?
That game is so good. And now I miss Chair. Well, I guess Chair just announced their new game today with J.J. Abrams.
For PC and iOS, not for consoles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch the video.
I read the press release, yeah.
Shadow Complex is one of the best Metroidvanias of the past
10 years.
Decade? Yeah. Probably since Symphony of the Night.
Yep. This one's near and dear to my heart. Condemned: Criminal Origins, an Xbox 360 launch title by Monolith, which is the folks that went on, of course, most recently made Shadow of Mordor. So Condemned: Criminal Origins is a first-person. It's not. I mean, it's a horror game, but it's first-person melee combat,
which very few games do well.
Right. But with a horror theme to it.
It's real scary.
It's terrifying. It's very brutal because everything's just first person and with like lead pipes and
sounds awesome.
It's you're in an abandoned school, which is creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Please play Condemned: Criminal Origins, and I'm gonna guess I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of our listeners probably haven't because the game's so old now.
Yeah.
It goes all the way
Was
back.
the second Condemned also backwards compatible?
I don't think it was on the initial list, but you need to play the first one. Yeah, the second one took a noticeable...
Except for the bear. The bear's real cool.
The bear is... Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
We won't ruin the bear for you.
I'm just looking at the list.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 1, of course. We knew about that.
But everybody's played that.
Borderlands and AC2. You're talking about stuff
I'm trying to
people
get
may
to some
have
stuff that, some great gems that people may not have played.
Beyond Good and Evil HD.
That would count.
Yeah.
Cameo, another launch title. Rare's... Rare had 2 launch titles for the 360.
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark Zero being the other one.
Backwards compatible.
Which is on the list. Cameo, Elements of Power, I think a super underrated game. It's super colorful. It's I love the gameplay with... What do you...
I just saw Hexic. I love Hexic. I know that's a super simple game, but that's awesome.
Hexic was pre-installed on the hard drive enabled Xbox 360s. Yeah, that was... There is a good chance that you got your first achievement off of Hexic. But Cameo was great.
Yeah, and Cameo is still gorgeous. I played through a couple of hours of it when I was reviewing the Rare replay. And aside from, I think it's got a really bad opening, but once you sort of get off the leash and can kind of explore the world, that game's still gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Awesome. And then most recently, bringing this one up because it came out after the new consoles have, and you may have missed it, South Park: The Stick of Truth. You can now play it on your Xbox One. Please play it.
I was saying to Sean, that's going to upscale beautifully on Xbox One.
Because it just looks like the intentionally crappy South Park cartoon. Like, that's how it looks by design. Yeah, it'll look great. It's one of the funniest games of all time. I mean, it's Matt and Trey. It's their fingerprints all over it. They wrote it. It's a season, basically, because it's 12 hours long.
Yeah, it's one of those RPGs like Child of Light, where it's like if something like a 100-hour Fallout RPG is way too intimidating to you, like it is to me, a 12-hour RPG like Stick of Truth is very nice.
Yes, that is true. So, I was saddened when a lot of the responses I got on Twitter to tweeting out this feature of these are 5 you shouldn't miss. So many of the responses were, well, they don't have this one. They don't have that one. And it's like, gamers, stop complaining about what you didn't get in this 104 game batch and enjoy what is there.
They're coming.
There's also a lot of great stuff there. Yeah, it's the first wave. So all of this, to me, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, comes around to, I think, the Xbox One now, as of November 12th, 2015, this is where Phil Spencer's tenure as head of Xbox has really become a real thing that you can point to and you can evaluate and you can just hold up and say this is what Phil has done. Yeah, these are his fingerprints. You've got the new dashboard. You've got backwards compatibility, which was his initiative because he and I talked about that. I ran the interview after E3 on this show. The Elite controller, which by the way is can't go back now, so good. Rise of the Tomb Raider, that was his deal that he secured that as an exclusive. I mean, it's other than the shell of the actual physical box itself, which is still in the big square thing.
You think that's E3?
We'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about that in a second, but I think it's really, this is almost the Xbox One 2.0 now. I mean, it's if you compare what the system is, what it looks like when you turn it on, and what it can do compared to 2 years ago when it launched, it's almost completely night and day.
Yeah, it's crazy because PS4 has had some minor changes, but like barely noticeable, at least to me.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, night and day.
Yeah, PS4 updated the software though. That was the one weird thing for me because like they just added a ton more options. It kind of fixed a lot of wonky things in PS4. This is a huge upgrade. Like this is completely revamping the dashboard, getting backwards compatibility into the console. It really is Phil saying like, this is what gamers care about. Let's give them what they want.
And think about it. 2 years ago when the system launched, partying up was a mess.
Yeah.
And so much of the achievements were an app that took forever, relatively speaking, to get at. That was very frustrating. And the price of the system, it was much more. It was 25% more expensive than the PS4, and now it's technically, I guess, the same price, but with with holiday sales, it's less or heavily bundled. And then the dashboard is so much better.
Yeah.
And the the backwards compatibility stuff. I mean, it's and the lineup too. Look at the lineup under Phil. Sunset Overdrive, stuff we were talking about before. Tomb Raider, Sunset Overdrive, Halo 5,
Rare Replay,
both Forza, the Horizon 2 and Motorsport 6, and Rare Replay.
And it sold well. I'm very happy that Rare Replay sold well.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And I wonder if you hinted at it, Destin. I think there are sort of 2 more pieces left before it's like where they could almost literally relaunch the system. Not like in a we canceled the system and now it's coming back.
I know what you're saying.
But yeah, in a sort of marketing sense. And that's in I think they said either early 2016 or spring. I don't recall which it was, but the Cortana voice integration stuff is coming to the Xbox One. It was supposed to be with this week's dash, but they ended up pushing it back for testing, I guess. But that's going to let you do some interesting things. They've demoed stuff like it'll, if you'd like, you can ask it like, who just killed me in this game, and
cool.
And she can tell you. Cortana can tell you. So interesting little potential things like that. And then I think you're right, Destin. I think E3 is when we get the slimmed down.
Like a
machine.
physical redesign, slimmer, quieter,
Still not an internal power supply.
I don't know.
Quieter than the Xbox One now?
Xbox One.
No, that's why I
silent.
corrected myself.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I would love
can't
an
hear it.
internal.
Slimmer, still quiet.
I would love an internal power supply, but that's not going to happen.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't really transport my console around all that much. It doesn't bug me.
Yeah.
And from what I read, there's a lot more comparatively PS4s that break down because of overheating because of the internal power supply than there are Xboxes.
But the point being that I think come E3 and come next summer and into next fall, I think we could actually see Microsoft put a huge amount of money into a massive Xbox One marketing campaign. Because that's they'll have Gears 4 hitting, possibly Sea of Thieves, Halo Wars 2. The lineup will be great. The lineup's fantastic all of next year.
Good time to launch a new look.
But with the new dash, the Cortana stuff, a physical, slim, new, sleeker looking console. It'll probably be $299 permanently by then, I would suspect. I wonder if they're just gonna really marketing wise relaunch the thing next year.
Same great lineup. All the games that you love from the past, sexy new look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft plays it, but they've got a lot to be proud of. The machine today is so much better. The user experience is so much better than it was.
It's really interesting to me to see this transition happen because, Phil Spencer, I mean, we know that he's been at Microsoft for a really, really long time.
Career,
but I think his tenure at Xbox has really been emblematic of Microsoft's philosophy, which is if you look historically at the company, they almost never get things right the first time, but after time and iteration, they get to where they need to be, and it becomes a really, really good product. That's kind of been the difference if you want to take it back to the PC days between Microsoft and Apple, right? Where Apple would innovate and put everything into one product right at the beginning, whereas Microsoft would put something out that maybe wasn't as good, but over time acquired greater market share because they would iterate and improve over time.
Yeah, you could
all these little additions add up to something really, really big.
Yeah, because even Windows is a great example of that. Early Windows wasn't good, and then it got great, and even
by Windows 95, it was a huge thing.
Xbox Live Arcade, when it debuted on the original Xbox, wasn't that good. It was just this strange interface, and the games were $15, crazy overpriced. And then the version 2.0 of Arcade, which was built into the 360, was amazing.
Yeah.
So you make some good points there.
I mean, and that's I think that's just you can attribute most of that to one guy. I don't know that someone else in that position would have had that mentality that has made Microsoft successful, right? Because he's a Microsoft man, I don't know that you bring
Microsoft man.
Yeah, you bring in execs other, guy who went to Zynga.
Oh, Don Matrick.
Don
He
Matrick,
who shall not be named.
I don't know that bringing in an exec for hire from outside would have been able to make this sort of impact in the amount of time that Phil Spencer did.
It's nice.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, you're suggesting that because Phil just is he knows the company back to front.
He's a grassroots guy. He came up through.
He's been able to move quickly to change the direction of the Xbox ship.
Yeah, and most importantly, I think like whether or not he knows it, he has Microsoft's mentality burned into his like strategy, and that's paid off, at least from my perspective, like really well for Xbox fans and gamers.
Yeah,
it's nice when you add something to a product that has a big impact.
God damn it, Destin.
That was good. That was a good one.
That was good. Big Team Battle is hitting Halo 5 this week. Speaking of things getting better, for free. This was a surprise to me. When before launch, 343 had told us. They've said a while ago. Okay, Big Team Battle's not shipping with Halo 5, but it's going to be added as a free update later. I figured it was a convenient situation where they probably had to cut it just to make their set in stone release date, but it also had the other positive effect for them of pushing people to try Warzone, their big new thing, and it's a good thing people did because Warzone's amazing. But I didn't think we would get Big Team Battle this soon, but here it comes this week. It's out, and now that I think about it, it makes total sense because Call of Duty just hit. So, you might have had some people stray from Halo and go, ooh, Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
Like, no, come back to Halo 5. We've got Big Team Battle for you now. And, of course, it's maybe a preventative salvo fired over the Star Wars Battlefront deck as well, because that game is 1 week away.
Yep. Going to draw a whole lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where the audience stays. Like, you're going to have Halo, you're going to have Star Wars, you have Fallout. Tomb Raider will be like an appetizer. Like, people will play that game.
It's a single-player game.
Yeah, people will play that game, but it's finite. There's an end, start and an end to it. These other games are like 100-hour games. Like, you could spend 100 hours in Halo, you could spend 100 hours in a multiplayer game.
Very
like
true.
Star Wars and, Fallout,
Yeah, so, and we knew 343 had told us just before launch that Big Team Battle, when it did come, it would be bringing with it its own Big Team Battle specific maps, which was great news. They weren't going to try and crowbar it into the small arena maps or the huge Warzone maps. And the 4 maps, it's very interesting what they're doing here. They're made in Forge by community members with 343's help. So kind of the fundamental ideas and work done by the community, and then 343 comes in and sort of presumably polishes it up and
I like that.
smooths it out.
Cool.
Not to be too rude, but hopefully they're a little better than the 2 that launched. They were a little
Orion
clunky
and
in
Pegasus?
spots. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring it up. Orion was yanked from matchmaking because it's a disaster. It's full of exploits and bad spawns.
Yeah.
I actually hate Pegasus a lot more than Orion. I don't
Which
have
one?
a
Which
huge
one's Pegasus? Then?
Pegasus is the one
with the rocks.
Well, there's Orion's the one with the rocks off on the side.
Yeah.
And then Pegasus is the one where it's just like huge ramps up to this sort of like top area, and then there's just kind of a bowels area down below. And I do not like Pegasus. It's probably my least favorite Halo 5 map.
They changed Pegasus too. Didn't there used to be like on the far, I guess if you're on the low ground looking up towards the top, there's that like there used to be a big sort of outdoors ramp that kind of went up to the side. That's gone now.
Yeah.
And that kind of, at first I was like, oh, that'll be nice, but it actually is not. It makes it worse. Like, it makes it harder to get to the top. Like, at least you could flank. I don't know. That map sucks.
and most of the other maps are really good, but those
Plaza.
I didn't like them in the beta either.
I was fine
specifically
with
Pegasus.
Orion, but I didn't get a lot of it in the release, so I don't know about these exploits and stuff.
But so the 4 Big Team Battle maps, they're all sort of inspired by classic Big Team Halo maps. You have a map called Basin, which is inspired by Valhalla. You have Guillotine, which is inspired by Headlong, and that's the one just from the screenshot. Like, as of our recording today, these aren't out yet.
Yeah.
So all we have to go by are the shots. And Headlong Guillotine looks almost exactly like Headlong from Halo 2, which brings back all kinds of warm and fuzzy memories. Deadlock, which is inspired by Standoff, that was a Halo 3 DLC map. And then a map called Recurve, which is inspired by Halo 4's Longbow. So I'm very eager to try these out. I love Big Team Battle. It'll be nice to have vehicles, because Warzone's the only place to have that you can get vehicles right now, and it's all, of course, done through the rec system. So it'll be nice to put Halo 5's mechanics to the test in a traditional classic
Big team
8-on-8 big team battle scenario where it's just there's no rec system but there are vehicles and you got to control the vehicles, control the weapons. I cannot wait.
Neither can I. Big team battle was always like that awesome change of pace when you were playing with a big group of friends, or it's like nowadays when Twitch streamers or people like us want to play with community members or fans. Like it's another great way to just rotate people in and out and just get a lot of people playing together. Like that's super cool and that's super fun.
And with dedicated servers, Warzone has been running pretty great for me certainly, and I think for most people. Dedicated servers should run better than Big Team Battle ran in the Halo 2, Halo 3 kind of days. So all good news on the Halo side.
With Orion being pulled and like these new maps having like oversight from 343, it's nice to know somebody is watching over the little details.
Damn it.
It would be better if you didn't emphasize it so much. Like that's the part that
bugs
Ryan
knows. That's so Ryan knows. That,
you're
hey,
cueing
Ryan,
me? That's for my benefit?
I'm throwing you a softball here, buddy.
Like
it's radio. You can just look at me and give me the
you
look.
You were looking away. That's why I did it extra emphasis.
Oh man,
it wouldn't be so bad if you didn't like phrase it the way you did.
And you also like start laughing. You can't even make it through.
That's what makes them great. That's what makes them great. All right. Yes, Overwatch, Destin.
Yeah.
Is to get serious.
On a serious note, that's huge news.
Overwatch, which is Blizzard's new hero shooter, as they are called now, is on its way to Xbox One, and it's out in the spring. Anytime a Blizzard game comes out for any platform, but particularly a console platform, it's big news. Blizzard's last Xbox One release was Diablo 3, the Reaper of Souls, the whole package. And holy crap, that game's so good.
Yeah.
It's so much better than the initial release of Diablo 3 was on PC. It plays great on a console. Oh my god, it's a great Xbox One game. So
if you haven't seen Overwatch yet, go to IGN, look up Overwatch, and just watch a match. It is intense. It's phenomenal.
It's
it looks
smooth,
really
it's pretty.
Good. Yeah.
It's a Blizzard
game.
game.
The characters are all like different enough. It's like Team Fortress in 2015.
So I got to play a lot of Overwatch at BlizzCon last week. And man, is every hero, there's 21 heroes right now. They're shipping with 21 heroes. And
I need a hero!
Adding more, I guess, later. But the 21 heroes that are in the game at launch are widely varied. Like you have 5 different tanking classes, or 5 different tanking heroes, 5 different support ones, 5 different attacking, 5 different defensive ones. And all of them have completely different abilities and different awesome ultimates and very, very interesting stuff. And it's just like it has that classic Blizzard art style where all the characters are really recognizable and very
colorful,
cool, very colorful,
distinct.
I played this guy named McCree. He's like an old West gunslinger type guy.
Cool.
He runs around with a 6-shooter, which is like the coolest thing ever to me because you're fighting like giant cyborgs and like ninjas and stuff who like throw ninja stars. And here's a guy with like a 6-shooter, and he has this. His ultimate is this ability called I forget what it's called, but it's called stare down, or it's a stare down where like. Your aspect ratio changes, so you're like
that's
squinting,
awesome.
and like
That's
you walk
so great.
really, really, really slowly. But as soon as you lock onto someone, you one-shot them.
Yeah,
that's
like, no matter where they are.
that's
and
cool.
it's like a really cool. It's just, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's fast and it's fun and it's varied.
If, dear listener, you're going, hey, this kind of sounds like that game Battleborn from Gearbox.
Yeah.
You'd be right. And I've got to imagine that the fine folks at Gearbox are
like,
all hitting the hardest alcohol they possibly can right now. Because they just delayed from February into May. And Overwatch is out in the spring, which they noted at the bottom of the screen is literal spring, meaning they just said a game is expected to release on or before June 21st, 2016. So it's possible that Overwatch Gearbox is a big deal. They're a tremendous developer.
This is not good news for them.
Got a huge name recognition, but Blizzard is one of the 3 biggest, highest profile developers with an amazing track record in this entire industry, along with Valve and I don't know, maybe Rockstars.
Yeah,
That's
those are
probably
the three big
Bungie's probably on the short list too. But Battleborn, those guys have got to be hitting the sauce right now because combined with Battleborn's delay, Overwatch is it's not only a very similar style game, but it could actually come out first.
Not only visually, but mechanically also.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very similar style game on paper. I've played Battleborn. You've played Overwatch.
Oh, yeah.
And from what you're saying, what you've said reminds me a lot of what I played.
Oh, yeah.
Of Battleborn, and of course there was a beta of Battleborn. A lot of people have played it, and man, I mean, I can't imagine there's going to be room in the market for more than one of these things, especially at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know.
And these are just the first two of a bunch of sort of hero shooters, if that's what we're just going to start calling them. With the Epic just revealed, what was it, Paragon?
Cliff Blazinski's game Lawbreakers, although that's currently only for PC.
Paladin. That was like the
Paladins. Yeah, thank you. That's the one I was looking for. That's from the Smite folks.
Yeah.
So don't sleep on that. High Res. Don't sleep on that game.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's weird that there's oversaturation before any of them are out. It's
true.
weird that the market's oversaturated already.
But I mean, that's the thing with, I don't know, with esports-focused games. Not that we're calling any of these things esports. It's too early to tell if they have the legs to be called something like that. But with esports-focused games, like there tends to not be a lot of market space. Like there's only ever one RTS or one shooter.
Yeah,
Counter-Strike.
It sort of reminds me when there's like so many people were trying to have a MOBA that could compete with League of Legends or Dota. Like there was the Lord of the Rings one, and there was the DC one.
You'll get a little bit,
there was
but
Heroes
nowhere
of Newark
near.
there for a little bit. Yeah, like you'll like you said, you'll snap up a little bit of the group, but you'll never compete with League of Legends or Dota. In fact, League of Legends and Dota are the only examples where there's two MOBAs like in that genre competing for, I don't know, that huge audience, you know. With shooters, it's like there is nothing else in esports except for Counter-Strike. With RTSs, there's nothing else except for StarCraft. You know, it just kind of is that way. And I can't speak to Battleborn because I haven't played it, but after playing what I played from Overwatch, I can't imagine anything competing with that. It's so fun, and it's really...
Battleborn is going to have a campaign sort of thing, which
That's
Overwatch
true.
seemingly is not.
That is true.
Battleborn...
and that's music to somebody like my ears. You know, I've been railing on this show for months about how I'm annoyed that all these shooters this generation don't have campaigns.
Yeah, and Battleborn's like legitimately funny. Like I've laughed while playing it. It's like really well written, and which is not a surprise coming from Gearbox. But yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough.
Is Overwatch PS4 also, Marty?
Yes.
So it's PS4, PC, and Xbox One.
Yep.
Yeah, all the
That's a
three
game I'll
usuals.
definitely play on console.
The one interesting thing about Overwatch is they've been very wishy-washy on pricing structure. Like we know we're getting this Overwatch Origins
type,
which just has
free to
more
play,
content.
which just has more content, but it also seems like the game is going to also be free to play.
Oh my god!
I think they've confirmed that it's not.
So it's so there are three. I mean, Brandon Tyrell will know more about this than I did, but he explained it to me. There are 3 announced editions of the game. One is like a base edition that includes,
But that's only for PC.
Which
you
is
can't
the
get that
more
on the
like,
console.
Right, which is the more free to play ish model, but it's not exactly free to play because you're still paying. Then there's I don't know what the edition's called.
The Origins edition.
Which comes with all 21 of the characters, and you can play on all consoles. And then I forget which.
It's not free to play.
Which is the top edition, but there's
it's a collector's edition thing with a statue in it.
Yeah. There was something with like. I guess especially on PC, like it unlocks a bunch of stuff in other Blizzard games. Like it unlocks a mount or a buddy.
It is
WoW.
not free to play. Yeah, just so you know, just for clarification.
They do that with a bunch of their collector's edition stuff. We just unboxed the StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void Collector's Edition, and like half of the digital goods are like, you get a cool new thing in Diablo.
Which, by the way, is genius. That's an absolute genius cross-promotional move on their part. All right, so the great battle of hero shooters, Overwatch versus Battleborn, is about to begin here. In the meantime, got a lot of things competing for our wallet.
That's right.
Destin Legary, I'm going to go to you.
All right.
What can we spend our money on this week?
Definitely buy Fallout 4 and probably buy Rise of the Tomb Raider 2. If you can buy them both, get them both. They're both phenomenal. Digitally, nothing.
People were smart enough not to release ID at Xbox games on live this week.
Smartly.
Marketplace, November's Games with Gold, Penumbra, Breath of Life.
Wait, hold on.
That's a different game. That's a different game. Penuma.
Nope.
Numa.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
we go. Numa, Breath of
He is
Life.
silent.
The P is
Xbox
silent.
One.
Like
all
pneumatic?
Oh, okay.
Like
All right, got it.
pneumonia.
Like pneumonia.
Got it. Night Squad on Xbox One also. So yeah, that's Numa and Night Squad, and then Dungeon Siege 3 for Xbox 360 and Dirt 3.
Yeah,
Dirt 3, November 1st to the 15th.
Yeah, you're running out of time to grab
and
Dirt
Dungeon
3.
Siege 3, the 16th to the 30th.
Wait, did I make this up when I said that?
You said this last week. I know what you're going to say.
Did any of us look it up?
What?
Damn it!
I
Did
don't
any of us
know.
look this up? I thought I read a thing that said from now on, every 360 game that's free during Games with Gold promotions is going to be backwards
I think you're
compatible.
right
look it
because that
up.
makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I either made that up or they should do that.
All right. Well, fortunately, we now have a short break. We'll come right back and do the trivia. It's Destin's chance to pull even with Mitch, who took a
I'm
leg
gonna.
up on him next week. So we'll be right back with that. All right. Hush up, Destin. It's time for
Talk about Overwatch, I'm excited.
Unlock Block Trivia.
Wait, we figured out I didn't lie.
Marty's not a liar, everybody.
That from now on, all 360 Games with Gold games are going to be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So you get double the amount of games to play on your Xbox One.
Excellent.
My source
That
for
is
that,
good news.
Xbox.com. So
Solid,
pretty legit.
solid. Source.
Yeah. You better hope that they're accurate. So, I didn't bring it in here, but our winner this week
the Dookie?
is
the prize.
David Malucci. He won the Tomb Raider Xbox One bundle. We just got done saying you
Congrats.
should play Tomb Raider. Well, he can now do it, and he's got a console to play it on. So, David, congratulations. He sent in the question, which I'll get to in a second. But this week, awesome Podcast Unlocked fan Jonathan McKenzie has offered up a copy of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
Oh.
Clearly, he bought the console and has his, which comes with a digital code for Tomb Raider 1 for Xbox One, and he is kindly offering to give that away. So I'll give that away next week if you'd like to win a copy of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for your Xbox One. And Dave Malucci won himself an Xbox console. Thanks to Microsoft for providing that, by the way.
This is
With
a
this
fantastic question.
Now, Destin, you were not here last week because Fallout was more important than this show, apparently.
Rude.
I had 30 videos due Sunday. at
I love
5.
watching his just blood
Yeah.
vessels pop out of his head. And Mitch,
Tell me my job's easy.
Mitch,
Next. That'd be great.
Mitch did get it right. So he is a point up on you right now in the Quest 4, right? This bad boy right here,
Mitch.
the Dookie trophy that's in the middle of the table.
You're going down, Mitch.
So he asks a question which sounds simple but could be super deceptive. I know this one threw me. And that question is, which of the 4 main Halo games has the highest Metacritic score? Which one reviewed the best? You've got Halo 1, Halo Combat Evolved, obviously came out, took the world by storm. Halo 2, huge hyped sequel, multiplayer changed everything. Halo 3 for 360 kind of put it all together. And then Halo 4 came out and melted a lot of faces as well.
That's right.
So I'm going to make sure you guys write down your answers. I mean, really just Destin at this
I
point.
already did.
Marty's
Yeah.
playing for pride. Finnegan playing for pride.
Playing for wins.
The scoring for the year, Mitch at 18 points, Destin at 17, Shark with 6, Marty actually 13. You're not completely... If
Oh.
these guys get shut out for a month,
Yeah.
you've got a shot.
What if Marty came back and won?
That would be awesome,
Yeah.
actually. And then he just takes the
Can I
trophy
donate
and
my points?
he just rubs it in your face. Be great. I'm going to go to the Shark
Super back.
first. So which of the Halo games, which of the first 4 mainline Halo games, Sean, do you think had the highest Metacritic score average?
I don't know for sure, but I have to imagine it's Halo 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marty.
We'll go to Marty.
I said Halo 2.
Okay. Destin, what do
Halo
you
2
think?
had the controversial ending, so I said Halo 3. But Halo 2 did have phenomenal multiplayer, so
So did
a little
3.
bit of a toss-up.
Interesting.
So did
Some
1 and
different
so did
choice.
4.
Yeah. We all had.
4. I'm sticking with 3.
Destin,
Uh-oh.
I will report now that your score compared to Mitch's is exactly the same. You
All
didn't get
right,
it right.
tied it back up.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
It's the same as it was last week.
you
No.
said your score
Misunderstood.
compared to Mitch's is the same.
As it was last week. You didn't let me finish.
Is
no,
it 2?
it was Halo 1 has the highest
Okay.
Metacritic.
Darn it.
Bummer.
Yeah, highest Metacritic score. So, a nice job stumping us. Dave Malucci, you've won yourself an Xbox One Tomb Raider console bundle for that. Thanks again to Microsoft for providing it. By the way, there's one more. I think we're going to have one more console to give away, thanks to our friends at Microsoft. But I
Nice.
need to just button up all the last details on that before I announce it. But in the meantime, again, next week, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. And if you want to win that, send your Xbox-related trivia question along with 4 multiple choice answers. Please note the correct one. And send that to unlocked@ign.com. And let's go home.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get out of here. Get us out of here, Chewy. Destin Legary,
Yeah.
plug some stuff. Tell us about yourself.
Just pretty much everything that hits anything Fallout that hits the site, I'm probably involved with, unless it's wikis. So yeah, just keep an eye out for Fallout stuff. Follow me on Twitter @DestinLegary.
Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, Marty saw me hit a death claw with a baseball bat and send him flying almost over a house.
It was
really
good.
phenomenal.
Were there cheat codes on at the time?
No, so there's a baseball bat that has a chance to send enemies flying,
And
and
you-
there was a death claw in my face. I'm like, well, let's see what happens. And he went. Poof.
was
I
really
was
good.
like, that
sounds-
was amazing.
Please tell me you were capturing that on video.
So there's a baseball bat montage you can watch right now, and you can see the
I
death
need
claw
to
go
see
flying.
that.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
great.
fun.
Sean.
Follow me on Twitter @I'm Finnegan and add me up on Xbox Live @Finnegan _ I play a lot of Destiny, a lot of Halo, although I'm sinking a lot of time into Fallout 4 right now. But I'm always looking for fire team members, both in Halo and in Destiny, so hit me up there. Also, this week, I think we are going to be doing a StarCraft 2 Legacy The Void live stream. So if RTSs are your thing or you want to come play against me in multiplayer, then let's do it.
I think we're streaming some Tomb Raider tomorrow,
Maybe.
Thursday, I believe. So that'll be 1 p.m. Pacific.
I forgot to mention we have a big live show this weekend too. We're doing Fire Team Chat and Game Scoop live.
Yeah, we should
Oh,
definitely
right.
talk
Yeah.
The
about
thing
that.
we haven't plugged at all.
Yeah,
because
well, it's
IGN
sold
sold
out.
out.
It's sold out. That's why we haven't been plugging it.
IGN House Party is this weekend, November 14th. Live Game Scoop and live Fire Team Chat. So if you're in the area, too bad because you're right, it's sold out. But next time, and stick
we hope
around.
to see you there.
Yeah, and if you are going, then come say hey to us.
Yes,
we'll
please
be
do.
all hanging out there, having drinks, eating food.
I will be a little late to the party, not on purpose. Had a thing in the morning, but my plan is to be there and hang out for the bulk of it.
Yeah, it's
be
gonna be
good.
a lot of fun. And these seem to be a big hit with the fans, and people want to support the event a lot. So there will be more in the future. So keep an eye on IGN
Yeah,
for when
we're
we
thinking of
announce
doing
that.
them in different places too. Like so, we're maybe pairing them up with like PAXs or Comic Cons or things like that.
Yeah, thank you so
Nice.
much. It's like 600 people or something.
Wow.
600
600
going to be
people.
there.
Fantastic.
Don't mess it
yeah.
up.
Yeah, no pressure,
screw
Fire
up.
Team
Welcome to
Chat.
Fire Team Chat. Oh God.
Boy, I'm glad. I'm glad Unlocked doesn't have to do it live this time.
Yeah.
I'm just
You
gonna sit
already
back.
had
Do
your
it
chance.
live!
Yeah.
And as for me, you can follow me on Twitter @DMC_Ryan. I murdered all the other Ryan McCaffreys on Twitter.
Had it
I'm the
coming.
last one standing. That's why I
Congrats.
get the blue check
You're
mark next to my
verified.
name now.
I wasn't sure it was you.
There can be only one. But what am I doing? I am. Yeah, there's nothing else to review because Mitch is doing Battlefront. That's why he's not here today. And, well, I guess we'll see what happens with Just Cause and Rainbow Six. I'll see if I get in on
And there's
either of those.
10,000 episodes of Telltale games coming out by the end of the year.
Ton of Telltale things, but I'm just kind of in future planning stuff. I will say this week, right now, we have some exclusive features, one a day, today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on Ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
cool.
is the
Marty, you like
bunch of
that.
X-Rare folks at Platonic Games. They're making a very Banjo-Kazooie inspired new platform, character-driven platformer, which we've got. We're revealing an NPC today that you'll spend a lot of time interacting with, who is amazing.
Yeah. It's a real cool dino.
Yeah.
Check out that feature.
And then I want to thank. I should have said this at the top of the show. I want to thank everybody. I got a lot of nice comments about the John St. John interview last week. God, was he fun to talk to. That guy was great, and you probably heard he was kind enough to cut 2 intro bumpers for us. So I heard the first one last week, heard the other one this week. I'll put them into the mix. But yeah, he was great. I want to thank him for coming in and spending so much time talking to me about video game voice acting. IGN Prime, that helps keeps the lights on here and gets you no ads on IGN, either on the website or on videos. Sign up at ign.com/prime. It's only $30 for 1 year. I think we're done.
We did
are.
it. I'm proud of us.
I was actually worried if I was going to get on that jury. I was like, I don't know if I'll be on Unlocked for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
The show will just.
Oh my God.
I don't know what's going to happen.
3 months of Mitch hosting.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful. Thank you again to the judge for excusing me so I can
taking Ryan's bribe.
Yeah, I can just right across the table. There you go, sir. 4, Destin Legary, Marty Sleva, the absent Mitch Dyer, and the ever-present Sean the Shark Finnegan. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. This has been Podcast Unlocked, episode 220, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye, everybody.